The Ghost and the Hunted, a redemptive love story of faith and second chances. Gianna Montgomery is running for her life from Kojo Sanders, an obsessive stalker who destroyed her career and won't let her go. After 3 dates turned into a nightmare, she's fled from city to city, losing hope and her faith along the way. Jason Baroni, former mob enforcer known as the Ghost, left his criminal past behind after betrayal landed him in witness protection. In a jail cell, he cried out to God and experienced a life-changing conversion. Now he's preparing to testify against the ruthless Erik Markov while trying to build a new life rooted in faith. But when their paths collide and deadly threats emerge, Jason must choose between revenge and redemption. Can two broken people, running from darkness, find healing in God's light? Can love conquer fear when faith is tested? Enjoy the following story full of romance and suspense. Subscribe for more inspiring Christian romance stories, testimonies, and faith-based content. Like if this story touches your heart and reminded you of God's redemptive power.
Chapter 1. The Running. The rain came down in sheets as Gianna Montgomery pulled her hood tighter around her face, the cold droplets mingling with the warmth of her breath, creating a steamy fog that blurred her vision. Portland, Oregon, her third city in 6 months. Each time she thought she'd finally escaped, another message would appear. Another photo of herself that she didn't remember being taken. Another reminder that Kojo Sanders was still hunting her. She hurried down the slick sidewalk, her sneakers splashing through puddles toward the small apartment she'd rented under her latest alias. 3 dates. That's all it had been. 3 seemingly normal dates with a man who'd seemed charming at first. Then came the texts. Dozens a day. The surprise visits to her workplace. The flowers that felt more like threats than gifts. And when she'd finally told him she wasn't interested, his mask had slipped completely. You're mine, Gianna. You just don't know it yet. The police had been useless. He hasn't technically threatened you, ma'am, until he does something illegal. But she'd seen the obsession in his eyes, heard the edge in his voice, so she'd run. Now, fumbling with her keys at the apartment door, Gianna felt the familiar prickle of anxiety crawl up her spine. Was he watching her now? Had he found her again? She pushed inside and locked the door, pressing her back against it as her heart hammered. The sparse apartment offered little comfort, just a mattress on the floor, a single lamp, and the bare necessities. This was what her life had become. No roots, no connections, no peace. Gianna slid down the door and wrapped her arms around her knees. The loneliness crushed her. She'd grown up in church, had once believed in a God who loved her, who protected his children. But where was he now? Where was he when Kojo had systematically destroyed her reputation at work with lies and manipulation until she'd been forced to quit? Where was he when the police had dismissed her fears? If you're really there, she whispered into the empty room, I could use some help. Then, Chapter 2, The Protector. Across town in a safe house monitored by the FBI, Jason Baroni stared at the testimony documents spread across his kitchen table. In 6 months, he would take the stand against Erik Markov. 6 months to prepare, to stay alive, to maintain his sanity in isolation. He ran a hand through his dark hair and exhaled slowly. 2 years ago, he wouldn't have cared which outcome awaited him. Back then, he'd been the Ghost, Jax Markov's most trusted enforcer. He'd done things that still haunted his dreams. Things he'd justified as part of the job, part of the life he'd been born into. But Jax had been different from other mob bosses. Ruthless, yes, violent when necessary. But he'd had a code: never hurt innocents. Never deal in drugs that destroyed families. Never exploit children. Working for Jax, Jason had convinced himself he was on the right side of wrong. Then Erik had set him up. Jason's phone buzzed. Agent Reynolds, his FBI handler. Baroni, checking in. How are you holding up? Fine, Jason said, though the isolation was wearing on him. He'd been in witness protection for 8 months now, and the loneliness was sometimes harder than the danger had been. Good. We're still 6 months out from trial. Erik's been quiet lately, but don't let your guard down. And Jason, have you been getting to that church like I suggested? You need community, not just security. After hanging up, Jason thought about Reynolds' words. He had been attending a small church, Pastor Mike Thompson's congregation. The people there didn't know his real story, just that he was new to the area and looking for a fresh start. But their warmth, their genuine faith had been drawing him in. As he prepared for bed that night, Jason felt a gentle prompting in his spirit, something he'd learned to recognize over his year of faith. The Holy Spirit, his pastor had taught him, sometimes speaks in impressions, in knowing without knowing how you know. There's someone who needs your help. You'll meet her soon. Pay attention. Chapter 3. The Divine Appointment. The coffee shop was Gianna's refuge. For 2 hours each morning, she could pretend to be normal. Just another person working on a laptop, sipping chai, existing in the world. She'd been in Portland for 3 weeks now. No messages from Kojo. No signs he'd found her. Maybe she'd finally succeeded. Maybe she could breathe again. She was so lost in her thoughts that she didn't notice the man who'd entered until he was standing beside her table, balancing 2 cups of coffee and looking slightly embarrassed. "I'm sorry to bother you," he said, "but every other table is taken, and I noticed you're alone. Would you mind if I sat here? I promise I'm not trying to intrude. I'll just work quietly." Gianna's instinct was to say no, to protect her space. But something made her pause. The man had kind eyes, dark brown, warm, with a hint of weariness that matched her own. He held the extra coffee cup like a peace offering, and his body language was open, non-threatening, careful. "Sure," she heard herself say. "It's fine." "Thank you." He sat down, placing 1 cup near her. "I got you a refill. I saw your cup was empty. It's chai, right? I hope that's okay. If not, I'll drink it myself." He smiled, and it was genuine, reaching his eyes. "I'm Jason, by the way." She found herself smiling back slightly. "Gianna, and yes, chai is perfect. Thank you. That's really thoughtful." "My pleasure." He settled in with his laptop, but didn't immediately bury himself in work. "Are you from Portland originally?" "No, I'm new here. Just moved a few weeks ago." She left it vague, but something about his presence felt safe. Maybe it was his careful distance, or the way he'd asked permission before sitting, or the gentle kindness in his eyes. "Me too. Well, been here about 8 months, but still feels new." Jason took a sip of his coffee. "It's a beautiful city, but sometimes it feels lonely when you don't know anyone." "Yes," Gianna said quietly. "It really does." They fell into comfortable conversation. Jason told her he was working on a project that kept him mostly at home, that he was trying to make connections but found it challenging. Gianna shared that she was freelancing, true enough, and also finding it hard to build a life in a new place. What surprised her was how easy it was to talk to him. Jason listened, really listened, with his full attention. He asked thoughtful questions without being intrusive. He shared little details about his own struggles with starting over that made her feel less alone. After an hour, Jason glanced at his watch. "I should probably get going, but Gianna, I really enjoyed talking with you. Would it be okay if I came back tomorrow? Maybe we could share a table again?" She should say no. She should keep her distance. But the loneliness had been crushing her, and this brief connection had felt like oxygen after drowning. "I'd like that," she said. His smile was brilliant. "Great. Same time tomorrow?" "Same time." In the heart of Portland, where the scent of roasted coffee beans mingled with the crisp autumn air, a small coffee shop became the unlikely backdrop for an evolving friendship. Each morning, as the sun painted the sky in hues of orange and pink, Jason arrived at their usual table, 2 steaming chai lattes in hand. The ritual had blossomed over 3 weeks, transforming their tentative conversations into deep, soul-searching discussions about everything from the novels that shaped their youth to the intricate tapestry of faith and doubt that colored their lives. Gianna, with her dark curls framing her face, found herself revealing thoughts and feelings that had been buried for too long. Jason, with his warm smile and gentle demeanor, listened intently, never pushing for more than she was ready to offer. He shared snippets of his own life, a past filled with mistakes and regrets that he spoke of with a raw honesty that resonated with her. "I used to think I was too far gone," Jason confessed one morning, his fingers tracing the rim of his cup. "That I'd done too many things wrong to ever get it right. But then someone told me about grace, real grace, not just a concept. They told me that God specializes in second chances, that no past is too dark for him to redeem." Gianna stirred her chai thoughtfully, the sweetness mingling with a bitterness that reflected her own struggles. "I grew up believing that, but lately I've struggled with it. If God is good, why does he let bad things happen to people who don't deserve it?" Jason's eyes softened with understanding. "I've wrestled with that too. But I know that we live in a broken world where people have free will, including the will to hurt others. God doesn't cause the pain, but he promises to be with us through it, to somehow work even terrible things toward good for those who love him." Her voice barely above a whisper. Gianna replied, "I want to believe that. I've been running for so long, from so much, and I feel like I've lost myself somewhere along the way." Jason reached across the table, stopping just short of touching her hand. "You're not lost. You're right here, and you're stronger than you think. Anyone who keeps going despite being tired, despite being scared, that's not weakness. That's incredible courage." Tears pricked Gianna's eyes as Jason's words wrapped around her like a warm embrace. "How do you do that?" she asked, vulnerability spilling over. "Do what?" he replied, his brow furrowed in curiosity. "Make me feel seen. Make me feel like maybe I'm not as broken as I think I am." "Because you're not broken, Gianna. You're wounded, maybe. We all are. But wounded isn't the same as broken. Wounded things can heal." As the weeks passed, Gianna felt herself drawn to Jason in ways that terrified her. After her tumultuous relationship with Kojo, she had sworn off any connection that hinted at romance. Yet Jason was different, patient and respectful. He never crossed boundaries, never made her feel uncomfortable. That morning, however, she arrived to find Jason already seated, a frown etched on his face. "Everything okay?" she asked as she slid into the chair across from him. He handed her a chai, his gaze serious. "I need to tell you something, and I'm worried about how you'll react, but I can't keep it from you anymore." Gianna's heart raced, consuming her with uncertainty. "What is it?" With a deep breath, he confessed, "I'm in witness protection. I used to work for organized crime. I did things I'm not proud of, but I got out, found faith, and now I'm testifying against dangerous people. That's why I'm in Portland. That's why I'm keeping a low profile." Stunned, Gianna stared at him, her mind racing. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because you've become important to me. More important than I expected." "I couldn't keep lying to you even by omission," he said, his eyes earnest. "I'm running too," she blurted out, surprising herself. "What?" Jason's eyes widened in shock. "From a stalker. An ex who won't let go, who destroyed my life, who's been tracking me from city to city. That's why I'm in Portland. That's why I'm using an alias. That's why I'm so careful." Their gazes locked, and she felt an inexplicable connection. "So we're both hiding from dangerous people." Concern flooded Jason's features as he processed her words. "Gianna, are you safe? Do you need help?" "I don't know anymore. I thought I was safe, but I'm always looking over my shoulder. Always waiting for him to find me again. The police can't help. He hasn't technically done anything illegal enough for them to act. But I see the obsession in him, and I know he's not going to stop." Jason's voice was firm as he said, "Tell me everything, please." And she did. The whole story poured out. Kojo's obsession, the stalking, the systematic destruction of her life. As she spoke, Jason's expression shifted from concern to something stronger, more protective. "You're not alone anymore," he promised when she finished. "I don't know how yet, but I'm going to help you. We're going to figure this out together." "Why would you risk that? You have your own situation to worry about," Gianna asked, her brow furrowed. "Because," Jason hesitated, choosing his words carefully, "because from the first day I met you, I felt God telling me that you needed help, that I was supposed to be in your life for a reason. And because in this past month, you've become more than just a friend to me. I care about you, Gianna. Deeply. Her breath caught in her throat. Jason. I'm not asking for anything, he said quickly. I know your situation. I know you've been through trauma. But I need you to know that my offer to help isn't conditional. Whether you feel the same way or not, I'm going to be here for you. Gianna's heart swelled. I do feel the same way, she admitted, surprising herself even more. And that terrifies me. After Kojo, I swore I wouldn't trust anyone again. But somehow I trust you. Days turned into a whirlwind of activity as Jason contacted Agent Reynolds, and they arranged a meeting at a secure location where Gianna's story was met with seriousness and empathy. Over the following week, a bond formed between Jason and Gianna that was as profound as it was unexpected. Together, they explored the city, attended church services at Pastor Mike's congregation, and shared laughter and vulnerability in equal measure. One evening, as they strolled along the Willamette River, Jason took Gianna's hand for the first time. She stiffened, then relaxed, intertwining her fingers with his. Is this okay? He asked softly, searching her eyes. Yes, she breathed. More than okay. In the glow of the setting sun, Jason's voice broke the comfortable silence. Can I tell you what I'm feeling? Please, she urged. I'm falling in love with you, he stated simply, his honesty washing over her like a warm tide. I know it's fast. I know we're both dealing with complicated situations. But I've never felt this way about anyone. You make me want to be the man God created me to be. You make me believe in futures and possibilities instead of just survival. Gianna stopped walking, her heart racing as she turned to face him, the stunning sunset framing his features in a halo of warmth. I'm falling in love with you too. And you're right, it's fast and it's complicated, but it also feels like the most right thing in my life right now. Jason cupped her face gently, searching her eyes. May I kiss you? She rose on her toes, and their first kiss was soft, sweet, a promise of something beautiful beginning to bloom, amidst the chaos that had defined their lives for too long. When they finally parted, both breathless, Gianna whispered, I haven't felt safe in so long, but with you, I feel safe. You are safe, Jason promised, his gaze steady and sincere. I will protect you, not because you need protecting. You're strong enough on your own, but because I want to stand beside you and face whatever comes together. Chapter 6. The Connection Revealed. 2 weeks had passed since Reynolds' phone call, but the weight of his words had not lifted from Gianna's shoulders. The crisp autumn air felt heavier than usual as they arrived at the secure office, a sterile environment that mirrored the anxiety pulsing between them. Reynolds stood at the table, his expression grave, as he spread files across the surface like dark clouds unfurling in a storm. Gianna, your stalker, Kojo Sanders, he began, his voice steady yet unsettling. I ran his financials and background. He's a financial analyst, but he's drowning in gambling debt. About 18 months ago, he began doing consulting work for shell corporations. Guess who owns those shell corporations? The air thickened as Jason's voice sliced through the tension with a tight, apprehensive drawl. Erik Markov. Exactly, Reynolds affirmed, his eyes locked onto Gianna's. Kojo has been using mob resources to track you. That's how he keeps finding you. They have access to information networks that ordinary people don't. In return, he's been helping them launder money, hide assets, make their operations look legitimate. Gianna felt bile rise in her throat as dread settled like cold stones in her gut. So he's even more dangerous than I thought, she whispered, her voice trembling. Possibly, but here's the kicker. We've intercepted communications. Kojo mentioned an obsession he was tracking. Erik is paranoid about anyone connected to potential witnesses. He's investigating everyone in Kojo's life. Jason's hand instinctively found Gianna's under the table, his grip reassuring, yet fraught with urgency. So they could connect her to me? Not yet. They don't know about your relationship. But if they discover it, Gianna becomes leverage, a target not just for Kojo, but for Erik as well. Reynolds leaned forward, his voice low and serious. That's why I'm recommending we move both of you to a secure location. Together. We keep you off-grid until the trial. Protect you both. Gianna's heart pounded in her chest like a caged bird. For 6 months? 5 months now, Reynolds replied. I know it's a long time, but it's the safest option. Glancing at Jason, uncertainty clouded Gianna's thoughts. What do you think? His gaze was fierce, unwavering. I think I don't want you in danger, and I think. Jason squeezed her hand tighter. I think 5 months together might not be long enough. Despite the fear that coiled around her, Gianna found herself smiling. Then let's do it. Chapter 7. The Safe House. Nestled deep within the Cascade Mountains, the cabin felt like a cocoon wrapped in serenity, accessible only by a winding private road that threaded through towering evergreens. The aroma of pine mingled with the crispness of the air, invigorating their senses as Reynolds showed them around their temporary sanctuary. This is home for the next 5 months, he announced, gesturing around the cozy dwelling, complete with 2 bedrooms, a warm living area accented by a crackling fireplace, and a kitchen that invited culinary exploration. The windows framed breathtaking views of rugged peaks, painted in hues from the setting sun. You'll have regular check-ins with me, but otherwise, you're off-grid. No contact with anyone from your old lives. Supplies will be delivered weekly. Stay vigilant. Reynolds instructed before leaving them to process the enormity of their situation. Alone in the living room, Gianna gazed at Jason. 5 months, just us. Are you okay with that? He asked softly, concern etched in his features. I know this is intense. We've only known each other for 2 months. Turning to face him, Gianna's heart swelled with an unexpected warmth. Jason, you're the first person in a year who's made me feel human again. The first person I've trusted in longer than that. If I have to hide, I can't think of anyone I'd rather hide with. He pulled her close, resting his chin on the top of her head. We're going to make the most of this time. Not just surviving, but actually living. Building something real. Together, she agreed, feeling a flicker of hope amidst the chaos. Chapter 8. Falling Deeper. As the weeks unfolded, the cabin transformed them, allowing them to shed layers of fear and anxiety. The relentless vigilance of their past lives faded, replaced by the gentle embrace of intimacy. Mornings began with steaming mugs of coffee on the deck, where they watched the sunrise drape the mountains in golden light. Jason would read scripture aloud, and with each verse, Gianna felt her faith awakening, no longer a mere echo from her past, but a living, breathing experience. Listen to this, Jason said one morning, his voice rich with conviction as he recited from Psalms. He brought me out into a spacious place. He rescued me because he delighted in me. That's Psalm 18:19. That's us, Gianna. God brought us both out of tight, suffocating places into this. He gestured broadly, at the mountains, at the peace cocooning them, into spaciousness, into freedom. I never thought about it that way, she murmured, a smile stretching across her lips. But you're right. For the first time in over a year, I feel like I can breathe fully. Their days flowed in domestic harmony. Cooking became a playful battleground of sorts. Jason was meticulous, adhering to recipes with unwavering precision, while Gianna embraced a more artistic approach, tossing ingredients together like a painter with a palette. You're supposed to measure the ingredients, Jason protested one evening, as flour filled the air like a wintry haze. Cooking is an art, not a science, she countered playfully, grinning. Trust the process. The result was often chaotic, yet delicious, and Jason had to concede defeat with a good-natured chuckle. Okay, your way works, but it's chaos. Life is chaos, Gianna replied thoughtfully. The trick is finding beauty in it. As twilight descended, evenings were reserved for deep conversations that delved into their pasts, dreams, fears, and hopes. Jason shared secrets of his former life, the weight of guilt heavy on his shoulders as he stared into the flickering flames. I can't undo what I did, he confessed, his voice barely above a whisper. I've asked God for forgiveness, and I believe he's given it. But sometimes I wonder if I deserve happiness after what I've done. Gianna squeezed his hand, her heart aching for him. Jason, grace isn't about deserving. That's the whole point. None of us deserve God's love, but he gives it anyway. You're not that man anymore. You're a new creation, I see it in everything you do. His eyes searched hers, vulnerability laid bare. How can you be so sure? Because the man you were wouldn't care if he deserved happiness. He wouldn't lie awake wrestling with guilt. The man you are now is good, kind, and brave. That's who I see. That's who I'm falling more in love with every day. Jason's voice wavered with emotion. I don't know what I did to deserve you in my life. Grace, she whispered, her voice soft yet powerful. Just grace. Then he kissed her, deep and passionate. And the world around them faded into nothingness. When they finally broke apart, breathless, Jason rested his forehead against hers, emotions swirling between them like the autumn leaves outside. I want to marry you someday, he said, his words a promise laced with hope. When all this is over, when we're free and safe, I want to spend my life with you. She smiled, her heart swelling. Is that a proposal? Not yet. When I propose, it'll be special, perfect, everything you deserve. He kissed her softly, his intentions clear. But I wanted you to know this isn't just about surviving 5 months together. This is about building a forever. I want that too, Gianna replied, her voice firm and full of conviction. A forever with you. As the dawn broke over the horizon, soft rays of light danced through the small window of their hiding place, illuminating the dust motes swirling in the air. In this sanctuary, Gianna and Jason began their mornings with fervent prayers and devotion, an intimate ritual that had grown to be the heartbeat of their days. Their shared faith became a tapestry woven with threads of scripture, the words echoing in their hearts, particularly Joshua 1:9, which Gianna often recited softly, her voice a soothing balm in the quiet. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. It resonated within the 4 walls that enveloped them, a promise of strength amidst uncertainty. Even here, even in hiding, God is with us, Gianna affirmed one morning, the warmth in her smile a beacon of hope. Jason nodded, his blue eyes reflecting a depth of understanding that had deepened over their months together. Especially here, he replied, his voice steady. Sometimes, I believe God isolates us so we can hear him more clearly. The world's noise fades away, leaving only his voice. As days turned into weeks, their prayers became a shared rhythm, echoing throughout their lives. They prayed not just in the stillness of morning, but also before meals, and as the sun began its descent. Whenever insecurities threatened to creep in, Jason's prayers were straightforward, almost soldier-like in their precision, while Gianna's flowed like a river, intertwining art and faith. You pray like you cook, Jason teased one day, a grin breaking through his serious demeanor. By feel, by inspiration. Gianna chuckled, her laughter a bright note in their otherwise serious surroundings. And you pray like a warrior preparing for battle, tactical and focused. Maybe that's why we work so well together, he mused. The tension of their situation easing as they leaned into the comfort of each other's presence. Pastor Mike, their guiding light in the stormy seas of their circumstances, occasionally reached out through encrypted video calls. One day, he nodded thoughtfully, observing their dynamic. You two have something special. Genuine connection rooted in faith. Whatever God has planned for you, it's going to be powerful. Gianna's heart swelled as she spoke of their desire to help others, the lost souls who believed they were too broken for God's grace. Your testimony is your ministry, Pastor Mike reminded them. Don't waste your pain. Let God redeem it for his purposes. However, as the 3rd month crept in, the challenges of close quarters began to reveal cracks in their seemingly perfect facade. Gianna found herself retreating into silence whenever conflict arose, her heart heavy with unspoken emotions. Jason, trained to confront issues directly, grew frustrated, feeling the weight of their unspoken words pressing down on him. Talk to me, he urged one evening during one of her quiet spells. I can't fix what I don't know is wrong. I'm not something to be fixed, she retorted, her voice sharper than she intended. Regret washed over her as soon as the words left her lips. They had their first real argument, a trivial disagreement about household chores, spiraling into a battle fueled by stress and tension. "I feel like I'm the only one who cares about keeping this place organized," Jason exclaimed, frustration radiating from him. "Maybe because you have impossible standards," Gianna shot back, her words slicing through the air. The room fell silent, the weight of their exchange hanging between them like a thick fog. Jason's expression faltered, and guilt flooded Gianna's heart. "I'm sorry," she quickly apologized, her voice softening. "That was cruel. I didn't mean it." After a moment of silence, Jason sighed. "No, you're right. I do sometimes fall into that mindset, giving orders, expecting them to be followed exactly. That's not fair to you." They spoke late into the night, both offering apologies and committing to a renewed promise of better communication. When they finally settled into a comfortable silence, Jason wrapped his arm around her. "This is what real love looks like," he said, a content smile on his face. "Not the easy infatuation, but the hard work of learning to live together." As the weeks went on, they began exploring relationship books, diving into Christian guides on healthy marriage, and discussing their dreams. Their conversations blossomed, touching on children, careers, and their shared faith. "I want to build something that honors God, that lasts," Jason declared, his resolve shining through. Gianna looked at him, her heart swelling with love. "We will," she promised, her voice steady. By the 4th month, the challenges had forged a bond stronger than either had anticipated. One evening, Jason, with a twinkle in his eye, took the time to craft an elaborate dinner under the soft glow of candlelight. "What's all this?" Gianna inquired, her eyes widening with delight as she entered the dining room. "A date," Jason replied, pulling out her chair with a flourish. "A real one. We've been living together, but we haven't actually dated properly. I wanted to romance you." Their dinner unfolded like a beautiful dream: filet mignon, roasted vegetables, and decadent chocolate dessert, all accompanied by a playlist of worship songs intermingled with romantic instrumentals. After the meal, they danced slowly by the fire, the warmth wrapping around them like a comforting embrace. "This is perfect," Gianna murmured against Jason's chest, her heart full. "Far from it," Jason responded, his voice tender. "But I'm perfect for you. And you're perfect for me." As their eyes locked, Gianna felt her breath catch in her throat. "Jason." He gently cupped her face, his thumbs tracing her cheekbones. "I love you, Gianna Montgomery. I love everything about you. Your strength, your creativity, your faith. I love how you challenge me and see the best in me even when I can't see it myself." A rush of emotion filled her, and she whispered, "I love you too. So much it scares me sometimes." "Don't be scared," he replied softly. "Perfect love casts out fear. That's what we're building, something bigger than our fears and rooted in God's love." When their lips met, it was a kiss that transcended all that had come before. It was deep, passionate, yet respectful, filled with unspoken promises and dreams of a future. As they finally pulled away, breathless and glowing, Gianna said, "I can't wait to marry you, to spend forever with you." "Soon," Jason promised, his voice filled with determination. "As soon as we're free and safe, I'm gonna make you my wife." That night, they sat wrapped in each other's arms, dreaming of the life they would build together. A life filled with laughter, love, and the unmistakable presence of God guiding their path. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm golden glow over the landscape, Jason Baroni felt a surge of determination wash over him. The 5th month of their hiding had brought both a sense of urgency and a longing for the future. With the weight of uncertainty looming over him, he secretly contacted Reynolds, a man known for his gruff demeanor, but a heart that beat with unexpected sentiment. "You're sure about this?" Reynolds had asked, concern etching lines on his weathered face. "You're in the middle of the most dangerous situation of your life." "I've never been more sure of anything," Jason replied, his voice steady and resolute. He envisioned Gianna's face lighting up with joy, a beacon of hope amidst the shadows that threatened their existence. If the trial went awry, he wanted her to know that she was his future, his choice, his everything. 2 weeks later, Jason led Gianna on a hike toward a secluded waterfall he had discovered. The air around them filled with the earthy scent of pine and the sound of nature's symphony, the gentle rush of water cascading into a crystal-clear pool. The day was perfect. The skies were a brilliant blue, and the sun kissed their skin, wrapping them in warmth. "It's beautiful," Gianna said, her eyes wide with wonder as she stood at the edge of the shimmering water. "I'm going to miss this place." Jason took her hands in his, feeling the pulse of their shared moments, each laugh, each tear, woven together like a tapestry of love. "It's been a sanctuary," he said, his gaze deepening. "Our sanctuary, where we fell in love, where we grew together, where we built the foundation for our future." In that moment, an intense emotion welled up inside him as he realized how far they had come. "Gianna, 5 months ago, we were both running, both hiding, both broken in our own ways. And God, in his infinite wisdom and love, brought us together." He lowered himself to one knee, the weight of the small box in his pocket feeling like the most significant promise he could offer. Gianna gasped, tears brimming in her eyes as he opened the box to reveal a simple yet elegant ring, a single diamond glistening on a platinum band. "Gianna Montgomery, I know we're still in hiding. I know we're still facing danger. But I also know that life is uncertain, and I don't want to wait another day without asking you this. Will you marry me? Will you let me spend the rest of my life loving you, protecting you, serving God alongside you? Will you be my wife?" "Yes," she sobbed, throwing her arms around him as laughter and tears mingled in a beautiful cacophony of joy. "Yes, yes, 1,000 times yes." As Jason slipped the ring onto her finger, it fit perfectly, as if destiny had designed it just for her. Their lips met in a deep, fervent kiss, a promise of commitment and love that transcended the chaos surrounding them. "How did you get this?" she asked, admiring the ring through her tears. "Reynolds helped. I told him the design I wanted, and he had it made." Jason gently wiped her tears away. "You're my fiancé now. Soon, very soon, you'll be my wife." A spark of anticipation ignited in Gianna's heart. "I can't wait. The moment we're safe, I want to marry you. I don't need a big wedding or months of planning. I just need you." "Then that's what we'll do," Jason promised her, his tone firm. "Small, intimate, focused on what matters, our covenant before God and our community." They spent the rest of the day at the waterfall, dreaming aloud about their wedding, their future, and the life they would build together. Each word a brick laid down toward their shared dream. As twilight descended, painting the world in hues of purple and orange, they knelt together united in prayer, thanking God for their love, asking for guidance through the challenges ahead, and committing their relationship to Him. "Whatever comes," Jason said, his voice unwavering, "we face it together." "Together," Gianna echoed, her heart swelling with hope. The final 2 weeks at the cabin were a bittersweet blend of joy and apprehension. They savored every shared meal, every sunset, knowing they were on the brink of returning to the world that had once felt so threatening. Jason prepared for the trial, focusing on Erik's conviction and the wedding that would follow. Pastor Mike, a steadfast anchor in their storm, eagerly anticipated uniting them as husband and wife. As they packed up their lives in the cabin, Gianna felt a pang of sorrow. What had been a refuge had transformed into the birthplace of their love, the ground where they had grown from fractured souls into a united front. On their last night, they sat on the deck under a canopy of stars, the air crisp and filled with the scent of pine. "I'm scared," Gianna admitted, her voice trembling. "I know I shouldn't be. I know God is with us. But I'm scared of losing this, of losing you." Jason pulled her close, his heart aching at her vulnerability. "I'm scared too. But I'm also ready. Ready to finish this, to be free, to start our real life together." He tilted her chin up, meeting her gaze. "We've prayed, we've prepared, we've trusted God. Now we have to walk forward in faith." "Promise me something," she said, searching his eyes. "Anything." Promise me that no matter what happens, you won't let revenge or anger control you. You've come so far in your faith. Don't let Erik pull you back into darkness." Jason hesitated, feeling the weight of her request. "I promise I'm not that man anymore," he replied, though a flicker of uncertainty crossed his mind. What if Erik threatened Gianna? Days later, their world flipped once more as Reynolds picked them up at dawn, the drive back to Portland feeling surreal after 5 months of isolation. "The trial starts in 3 days," he explained, tension knotting the air around them. "We've secured a location for you both, separate from the courthouse, maximum security. Erik's been making noise about having surprises for the prosecution. We're taking every precaution." The new safe house felt constricting, a stark contrast to the freedom of the mountain cabin. Gianna sighed, missing the expansive views, the sense of peace. "I miss the space already," she murmured. Yet they steeled themselves for the upcoming trial, for the light at the end of the tunnel. Everything changed when Reynolds arrived with news that shattered their fragile peace. "We have a problem, a big one." Jason's heart raced. "What happened?" "Kojo Sanders escaped police custody during a transfer yesterday. He killed a guard and disappeared. We believe he's heading to Portland." Gianna felt her blood run cold. "How is that possible?" "Someone helped him. We think Erik arranged it. One last play to intimidate witnesses. If Kojo comes after you, Jason might refuse to testify." "That's not happening," Jason said, his voice as hard as steel. "I'm testifying no matter what." "I've tripled security on this location," Reynolds continued. "But Gianna, you need to stay inside, no exceptions." After Reynolds left, the atmosphere in the room thickened with tension. "He's coming for me," Gianna whispered, her voice trembling. "After all this time, after everything we've done to stay safe, he's going to find me." "No," Jason's voice was unyielding. "He's not going to touch you. I won't let him." Gianna caught a flicker of something primal in his eyes. "Jason, you promised. No revenge, no darkness." He pulled her close, his heartbeat a steady drum against her ear. "This isn't revenge. This is protection." "It's a fine line," she said carefully, her heart racing. "And I need you to stay on the right side of it. For me. For us. For God." Jason nodded, though uncertainty gnawed at him. "I won't cross it. I promise." Yet, in the shadows of his mind, plans began to form. If Kojo dared to threaten Gianna, he would do whatever it took to ensure her safety, even if it meant confronting the darkness he had fought so hard to escape. Tense and rigid as he stared out into the world beyond. His shoulders, usually strong and relaxed, were hunched, betraying the storm of thoughts that raged within him. "Couldn't sleep?" she asked, her voice a gentle whisper, tinged with concern. "Just watching, thinking," he replied, his gaze unwavering from the horizon. "About tomorrow?" she ventured, taking a step closer, her heart heavy with the weight of their impending trial. "About keeping you safe." He turned to her, his eyes filled with an intensity that sent a chill down her spine. "Gianna, I want you to stay in the bedroom today. Don't come out unless I tell you it's safe." Panic flickered in her chest like a candle flame. "Jason, you're scaring me." "Good. You should be scared. Kojo is out there, and he's desperate. Desperate men do unpredictable things." With a deep breath, she crossed the room and took his hands in hers, feeling the warmth of his skin against her own. "We're going to get through this, together, with faith." He leaned down and kissed her forehead, but a cloud of silence hung between them, dark and foreboding. Later that day, as Jason sat in an intense meeting with the prosecutors, Gianna found herself alone, the air thick with an electric tension. Suddenly, the sound of scraping at the door sent her heart racing. Someone was trying to pick the lock. Fear clutched at her throat, and without thinking, she grabbed her phone and texted Jason. "Someone's at the door." His response came immediately. "Get in the panic room now. I'm coming." Adrenaline surged through her veins as she sprinted to the reinforced room, sealing herself inside just as the door creaked open. With trembling hands, she activated the security monitor and gasped at the sight that met her eyes. Kojo Sanders, wild-eyed and disheveled, stepped inside, a gun glinting ominously in his grip. "Gianna," he called, his voice a twisted mixture of desperation and rage. "I know you're here. I know you're hiding, but you can't hide from me. You never could." She watched as he tore through the apartment, her breath shallow and panicked. Where was Jason? Where was security? Kojo's voice echoed through the rooms, a haunting refrain. "I did everything for you. Everything. I loved you, and you ran. You rejected me. But I'm going to fix this. We're going to be together, just like we're supposed to be." His words twisted like a knife in her gut. He was mad, completely detached from reality. Then, the apartment door burst open with a violent crash. Jason's voice rang out, cold and resolute. "Step away from that door, Sanders. Now." Gianna's heart soared at the sound of him, but her relief was short-lived. Kojo spun around, his gun raised, and the world seemed to slow. Jason fired first, the sound of gunfire echoing in her ears as Kojo stumbled, hit in the shoulder. The FBI agents rushed in, securing Kojo as he howled in agony. "Where is she?" Jason demanded, his weapon trained on Kojo, a fierce guardian, ready to protect his love at any cost. "Safe," one of the agents assured him. "The panic room. She's safe." Relief washed over Jason, but it was fleeting as he glared at Kojo, who was now being cuffed on the floor. "You thought you could take her from me? You thought you could terrorize her, hunt her, make her life hell?" Gianna's voice crackled through the intercom, frantic and pleading. "Jason, don't. Please don't. I'm safe. You saved me. Don't throw everything away." But Jason was lost in a storm of fury, his instincts screaming for retribution. She could see the ghost of the man he used to be, the enforcer lurking beneath his skin, ready to exact vengeance. "You destroyed her life," he hissed, his finger resting on the trigger. "You deserve to die." "Jason!" Pastor Mike's voice cut through the tension, the pastor stepping into the chaos. "Don't do this. This isn't who you are." Jason's hand wavered, the battle within him palpable. He hurt her. He terrorized her. He deserves. Vengeance belongs to the Lord. Pastor Mike reminded him, his tone firm yet compassionate. "Not to us, you know this. Don't let your anger control you now." Gianna's heart pounded as she watched the struggle unfold. Jason's countenance flickered, the old instinct fighting against the quieter, gentler whisper of something greater. "This isn't your battle. Let it go. Trust me." With a shuddering breath, Jason lowered his weapon, stepping back as if emerging from a fog. "Take him," he said to the agents, his voice rough. "Get him out of my sight." As Kojo was dragged away, still screaming, Jason sank into a nearby chair, his head in his hands, the weight of his choices crashing down upon him. Pastor Mike sat beside him, a comforting presence in the turmoil. "You did the right thing, son. The hard thing, but the right thing." "I almost killed him," Jason whispered, the anguish in his voice tangible. "I almost threw everything away. For what? But you didn't. When it mattered most. You chose to listen to God instead of your anger. That's victory, Jason. That's transformation." Gianna emerged from the panic room, her heart racing as she rushed into Jason's arms, relief flooding her system. "I'm sorry," he murmured, his body trembling. "I almost—" "But you didn't," she interrupted firmly. "You heard God. You heard me. You chose right. That's what matters." Tears brimmed in Jason's eyes as he held her tightly, the fear of losing her still fresh in his mind. "The thought of losing you, it drove me insane. Made me forget everything I believe." "But you remembered," she reassured him, her voice steady. "When it mattered, you remembered who you are. You're not the ghost anymore. You're Jason Baroni, man of God, man of faith. My fiancé, my future husband. That's who you are." Pastor Mike rose, placing a hand on both their shoulders, a silent blessing over them. "This is your testimony right here. This moment when you had every human reason to take revenge, but you chose mercy instead. This is how they'll know transformation is real." The trial began the next morning, and as Jason took the stand, Gianna watched from the secure gallery, pride swelling in her heart. For 3 hours, he spoke with unwavering clarity about the crimes of Erik Markov, each word a testament to his truth and his journey of redemption. When the defense attorney tried to undermine him, Jason stood firm. "Because I'm telling the truth," he said, his voice steady. "I was a criminal. I did terrible things. But I'm not that person anymore. I've been transformed by faith in Jesus Christ. I'm here because it's right." The jury deliberated, and when they returned, the verdict was unanimous. Guilty on all counts. Erik Markov was sentenced to life in prison without possibility of parole. Outside the courthouse, Reynolds shook Jason's hand, the weight of the world lifting as he turned to Gianna, tears glistening in his eyes. "We're free," he whispered. Gianna threw her arms around him, laughter bubbling forth. "We're free." In that moment, as they stood together under a bright blue sky, they knew they had weathered the storm and emerged stronger, bound by faith, love, and a promise of a brighter future. In the heart of a close-knit community, the sun dipped low, casting a warm golden hue across Pastor Mike's church. It was a sanctuary filled with whispers of hope and laughter, a tapestry of lives intertwined through trials and triumphs. 1 week had passed since Jason and Gianna had taken their vows, and now, surrounded by 30 loved ones who had become family, they were ready to begin their forever. The ceremony was intimate, yet overflowing with profound significance. Former FBI agents sat side by side with the former criminals that Jason had mentored, their presence a testament to the transformative power of redemption. Gianna, a beacon of grace in her simple white dress, radiated joy as her natural curls danced around her face, adorned with fresh flowers. Jason, clad in a dark suit, stood at the altar, a mix of anticipation and awe in his eyes as he awaited his bride. As she walked down the aisle, the soft strains of music embraced them, and Pastor Mike's voice boomed with warmth and enthusiasm. "Dearly beloved, we are gathered here to witness the union of Jason and Gianna, 2 people who've walked through fire and emerged refined as gold. Their love story is proof that God redeems, that He transforms, that He makes all things new." When it came time for vows, Jason's voice trembled with deep emotion, resonating through the church. "Gianna, when I met you, I was a man trying to outrun his past. You showed me that redemption isn't about running, it's about transformation. You taught me about courage, about vulnerability, about trusting God even when everything seems impossible. I vow to love you faithfully, to protect you, not from life, but alongside you as we face it together. You are my answered prayer, and I will spend forever proving I'm worthy of that blessing." Tears glistened in Gianna's eyes as she responded, her voice steady yet filled with emotion. "Jason, you found me when I was lost, physically running, spiritually adrift. You showed me God's love through your actions before I could accept it in words. I vow to love you unconditionally, to support your calling, to be your partner in ministry and in life. You are my defender, my best friend, my love, and I thank God every day for the gift of you." As Pastor Mike pronounced them husband and wife, the church erupted in applause and cheers. Their first kiss as a married couple was sweet and tender, a promise sealed in love. They turned, hands clasped, facing their community, and the moment was electric with joy. "May I present to you Mr. and Mrs. Jason Baroni," Pastor Mike declared, and the love that surrounded them was palpable. The reception that followed was a jubilant celebration of redemption, laughter echoing off the walls as stories were shared and testimonies flowed like a river of hope. During their first dance, Jason held Gianna close, whispering, "My wife, I love the sound of that." "My husband," she replied, a smile illuminating her face. "I love everything about this." Their honeymoon in the cozy mountain cabin was a return to the very place where their love blossomed. On their wedding night, Jason carried Gianna over the threshold, their laughter intertwining, a melody of pure joy. "Welcome home, Mrs. Baroni," he said, setting her down gently. Gianna's smile was radiant. "I love being called that," she said, pulling him close. Jason cupped her face tenderly, assuring her of his love and devotion. In front of the fireplace, their kiss was slow and reverent, filled with the promise of a shared future. As the night unfolded, they explored each other with tenderness and care. Jason whispered words of love and admiration, while Gianna surrendered to the sanctuary of his embrace. They became one, celebrating their love within the sacred bond of marriage. The first year of marriage brought challenges and extraordinary joys. Jason became a pastor, his testimony reaching hearts in prison ministry, while Gianna's nonprofit, Breaking Free, expanded to help countless victims find healing. They created a home filled with warmth and laughter, where Sunday dinners became a cherished tradition. Then, one evening, Gianna returned from a doctor's appointment, tears streaming down her face. Jason's heart raced with concern. But when he learned the joyful news that they were expecting a baby, pure wonder filled the air. "Thank you, God," he prayed, kneeling before her. "Thank you for this miracle. Please protect this child. Protect Gianna." Together, they envisioned a future filled with love and faith for their unborn child. 9 months later, a new life, Grace Hope Baroni, entered the world. As Jason cradled their daughter in his arms, tears of gratitude streamed down his face. "I don't deserve this," he whispered, overwhelmed by the magnitude of God's faithfulness. Years later, Jason and Gianna stood on a stage at a national conference, sharing their incredible journey with thousands. "Our story isn't about us," Gianna declared, speaking passionately about God's relentless pursuit of the broken. Jason echoed her sentiment, inspiring hope in countless hearts. As they prayed together that night, they marveled at the grace that had transformed their lives. "Can you believe this is our life?" Gianna asked, her heart full. "Sometimes it feels like a dream," Jason replied. "But it's real. Our legacy of grace is a testament to the God who redeems all things." And as they fell asleep in each other's arms, they rested in the knowledge that their story, from shattered shadows into healing light, would continue to point others toward the God who redeems, restores, and makes all things beautiful in His time.